Welcome to The Grand Balance, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by two working grandmas navigating the beautiful chaos of work and family. Hey there, Sharon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good today. How are you?
Just got back from celebrating the 2-year-old granddaughter's birthday.
Aw, what was the theme?
The theme was two, like a play on words, TWO, two at the zoo.
Oh.
So we did a zoo trip, and I got these super cute shirts from Etsy, and I surprised her family, so I'm sure her parents were like, oh my goodness. But the little baby sister had two wild sister, like TWO, two wild grandma, two wild mommy, two wild daddy. And then she had her own shirt. So we all wore our shirts to the zoo. She loves animals, so it was the perfect party for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very, very cute.
Yeah. So not a big party, just a small celebration with just the small family?
Yeah, just the immediate family, including myself. And you know, I love a good party, but they're new to Texas, and with her age, I agree with them. I know with my kids when they were young, I had the huge parties, and of course the kids, it's for the adults, let's be honest.
I know. Well, and like the first year is different than the second year, and now your daughter has the new baby, so that's a lot to take care of too.
Yeah, no, it was a good weekend because the baby's only, a month and a half old?
Yeah, so that's a lot to try to prepare anyway for something big. And it's not necessary. And she probably had an amazing time.
No, she absolutely loved the zoo. And then we did a Build-A-Bear excursion for her birthday bear. If all of you out there don't know, Build-A-Bear gives a birthday bear and it just costs their age. So her bear was $2, which is a bargain.
Does it include at least one outfit or do you?
0 outfits. That's where they get you in.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
And then the next day we did Rainforest Cafe, which I hadn't been to in years and years and years and years. And it was fun. She was a little afraid of the giant gorillas, but it all worked out fine. It was fun.
I didn't even know they still had those around.
I did not either.
You know, my daughter, when she was 3, we took my sister, my whole family went to Vegas, took my sister for her 21st birthday, and we left my daughter with the grandma, and she got chicken pox, and she got really, really sick. So we had to fly from Vegas to home, and I remember I bought her a little monkey from Rainforest Cafe to give to her when we got here, and she still has it today, and it's in the new nursery. Her name is Sophie. She's a little monkey in a little dress.
Cute. Yeah. How funny.
But I did not realize they were still around. So
yes, I don't think I thought about it or realized it either until my daughter said that they had a reservation. So
awesome.
It was fun.
Good. Well, the last time we met, we had talked about trying to pick a word of the year. You know, when we were speaking of resolutions or goals, you had mentioned, we should have a word of the year that we really focus on. So was curious if you came up with one yet.
I did. I was between two.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to go on the broader one and use positivity. So in my everyday life, I'm going to remind myself, rather than focus on the negativity or the irritations or the annoyances of life, I'm going to try to flip it to positive things. Gratitude, appreciation. I think it's so easy today to get into that whole negative mindset of us versus them, or just be bothered by the little things that come up. So I'm going to try to switch it and just have a very positive mindset for the year in all aspects.
I love that. So no complaining about little things. But then what are you going to do with your don't get me started? That's kind of contradictory, don't you think?
No, because you can still vent, but see a positive spin on it.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that, Sharon. When you bring up your next don't get me started, I'm going to say, okay, what's the positive spin to that?
Well, I guess a positive spin would be not to get extremely annoyed. So
see?
Limit the annoyance.
But I love it. It's self-improvement. It's just thinking about things differently.
Yes.
I think that's a good one.
Did you come up with a word?
I did. So mine is the word intentional. So starting with family, extending into my health, and then work, And even in my daily interactions and reactions to things, so very similar to, I want to be
Right.
intentional. I want this year to be my reactions to have purpose, how I manage things and not just be struggling to survive by juggling everything and, just really focus on being intentional in what I'm giving my time to, what I'm giving my energy to this year.
I love that. The other thing as you get, I shouldn't say at our age because it's not like we're super old, but I noticed as we age, you get much more intentional. And I think we talked about it on a prior episode about the people you spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're raising kids, you're just surrounded by so many different personality types, and you may be thrown together with people through sports or activities or work or whatever that you normally wouldn't gravitate towards. And as we age, I think it is important to surround yourself with people that are like-minded because the saying, you are some of the people you surround yourself with. And I think there is definitely truth to that.
For sure. And I remember when the kids were growing up, like you said, you hang out with all of the parents of their teammates and stuff. And sometimes I remember my husband, he intentionally stopped hanging out with some group of guys or, trying to reduce the amount of time because they would just like party all the time after games and stuff. And part of it was his job. He sold wine and spirits. So in the back of his truck, he had liquor all the time. And all the like baseball dads and stuff knew that. So he would bring it out.
He was the supplier.
He was the supplier. But at some point he realized like it was a lot and it really impacted his health and stuff. So he had to stop. And unfortunately that meant he had to like reduce the amount of time he spent with some people just because it always ended up being some big party.
Right. But I think that's a good lesson too. You do have to pick and choose who you spend time with.
Yeah.
And I think we just recognize it more as we get older because we're not forced into those situations as much. So we have the ability and the luxury, I guess, of choosing who we give time and effort to.
Yep. So that's
I like
what
it.
I'm going to try to do this year. Okay. So you're going to be
Mine's on positivity.
I'm going to be intentional of what I do. So spinning off of that, being intentional then, I know we're both Catholic. Did you decide to give up anything for Lent this year? For those that are not Catholic, every year during the Lenten season, Catholics commit to being better, doing better, sacrificing, things like that. So anything that you did this year?
I'm not a big drinker, but I decided to give up alcohol just because I know that sometimes even after a drink or two, I wake up and don't feel my best. So I'm going to do a trial and try to feel my best and just completely stay away from alcohol during Lent.
So are you more of like a social drinker?
100%.
Yeah. Well, and that's hard because you're very social.
So, I mean, that's where I definitely will notice it is getting together for happy hours and dinners with friends and so forth. But I mean, it's not a huge sacrifice in that I go home and get a glass of wine every night, but the sacrifice, and hopefully I notice a difference in going out.
Okay.
And being intentional about what I'm doing.
That's right. Good. Well,
And
mine is, and I did it several years ago, but I need to do it again because clearly it didn't last. Mine was to give up cursing.
Oh, no.
And the reason I'm trying really hard is I think I mentioned my grandson picked up a curse word from me.
Oh, no.
And he's using it against me a little bit.
Oh, that is so funny.
I said the D word, and I do, like if I drop something or I spill something, I go, oh, dang it, but it's a bad word. And now he started saying it. And then I tried to teach him to say, no, you say, oh, shoot. Because I'm like, what do I say? It's, I have this reaction. So I try to say, oh, shoot. So then now he's 2. He looks at me and he goes, Grandma says, oh, shoot. And then he'll sneak in like the bad word. And then the other day, my son-in-law sends me this video of what does Grandma say? And he says it. He says, oh, dang it, with the real word. I was like, stop encouraging him because now it's worse. So I just have to check myself and do better about not cursing. So with that, I'm going to give up cursing or try really, really hard. And every time I curse, I put $5 in the curse jar. And then at the end of the Lenten season, which is 40 days, I will donate that money to a charity, children's charity.
Oh, well, that's nice. It'll go to a good cause. I have a feeling you'll rack up quite a bit of money.
The last time I did it, it was close to $500.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, that's how bad it was. And we were talking this morning before the podcast, and I dropped one already.
I know. I did remind you.
And you reminded me, so I put it on my tracker.
I know. I'm not really a cursor, so that would not be a sacrificial thing for me at all. But I'm glad that you're raising money for charity.
That's right. And hopefully it won't be too much. But then at the same time,
I'm sure it'll make you aware.
Yeah, it's a good cause. Okay, so today's episode is on lying, which I was such a liar when I was a kid. Did you lie a lot as a kid?
I don't know if I lied a lot, but definitely I was thinking about that. I lied, but I think like you try to go to the root of why did you lie? And I think generally it was to get out of trouble.
Well, you would think that in the beginning, right? That's because I think more of when I lied as a teenager and stuff like that. And definitely it was that.
Right.
So,
well, even kids, think about little kids. That's probably the root of it too, is they do something they know they're not supposed to do. So they're lying to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
At times, although it's funny because I've been around young-ish kids like 5, 6, 7, 8, and the really super creative artistic ones tend to have such a vivid imagination that they'll make up scenarios aren't true as an adult, like, we went to Paris this weekend, and you'll be like, okay.
Yeah. So I remember my daughter, she would tell a story, and we loved the story so much that she would then start lying.
She'd embellish it?
She'd embellish it because she thought, oh, cool. They liked what I said, which was real, but now I'm going to embellish it more and basically lie so that I can keep it going. And yet we always knew what the lying part was because it wasn't.
I know. Kids don't realize how obvious it is.
It was too much. Yeah. So anyway, so we're going to talk about that today. And, I did do some research on this. Like, why do kids lie and how do they even start lying? So they start lying around 2 to 3 years old. And it's their brain development. You're right. They do usually do it to avoid trouble, but they also do it because of imagination blending with reality.
Right. That's I would say that's the two things.
You were saying that was like more in the 5 to 8 year old, but it actually starts as early as 2 to 3.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because think about the imagination kids have. It's amazing.
Yeah. You see all these YouTube videos where like kids have chocolate all over their face and the mom says, have you been in the chocolate? And they're like, no, I don't have chocolate on my face.
It's so funny.
And you just laugh so hard because it's so obvious, but they just don't click.
It doesn't click how obvious. It reminds me, I was getting some drywall patched in my house once, and I kept telling, my daughter was probably 4 or 5, and I kept saying, do not touch the wall. It was wet where they have to plaster and so forth. Do not touch the wall. Do not touch the wall. So she was 4 or 5. Her brother was 2 or 3. And I walked away for 1 second, came back, and there is an A in the drywall, which is the first initial of her name. I said, oh, did you touch the wall? No. How did this get here? She points to her brother, who clearly cannot write A's. And I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah. How old was she?
4 or 5.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And it was, obvious, so obvious because the 2-year-old's not writing A's on the wall, for sure.
Right. Right.
And there was no one else in the house. So it was pretty obvious who did it. But it's so funny that it doesn't connect in their brains like it has to be me because there's no one logically that could have done this.
Yeah. Yeah. So they do say at age 5 to 8, they're in the I didn't do it stage, which is to your point. Right? I didn't do it. But they also say that this is where, trying to just say that, you praise them more for being honest than the mistakes is more important because they want to avoid disappointing you at this age.
Which makes sense. I've also seen that rather than ask them, did you do this, which then builds an opportunity to lie, just say, the milk was spilled. We need to clean it up, and don't even ask the question. Just very businesslike and calmly state what needs to be done.
Yeah, like, how can we fix this?
Correct.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, so with little ones, it's hard because really when they do, all I wanna do is laugh.
I know that's my problem is I start cracking up.
I know, and that's
And it's
not
worse
good.
as a grandparent because you're trying to follow the rules and regulations of the parents, and you're over there, like, trying not to die laughing.
Right. Well, but we have to set standards, but what they're saying is just, make sure that we're not punishing, and the other thing they're saying is clearly this is one where parents and grandparents need to be aligned. Like, we need to ask the kids, how do you address lying? And there's so much tension between how we raised our kids and how our kids are raising them already from being old school versus new school. And this is one of those areas.
No, I agree. I mean, as usual, we need to be on the same wavelength as the parents. The other thing I saw before that broke my heart was a little boy. He was probably 4 or 5, and the mom kept saying, "Don't be a liar." And I thought that labeling is almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I don't think it's probably a good idea to call a little kid a liar because then they believe they're a liar.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think try to avoid the labeling too, and just, like as we had talked about, calmly state what the truth is and move on.
Yeah. They say around ages 9 to 12, as they get older, they lie to manage their social image, they lie to avoid shame. And the problem is, like, this is when their safety's at risk. So we've got to really encourage honesty. And even if we find like other kids are lying, we need to notify the parents or, let their parents know, or even at this point, let other parents know because their safety could be at risk. What do you think about that?
I think it's so situational.
Yeah.
Like, how much is the danger? What's the possible outcome? I think whenever there is significant danger involved, I think open communication with the parents is a must.
So I'm going to tell a story. Now, I was older than 12. I was 15, 16 maybe. Not 16. I didn't drive yet. So 14, 15. And I was really kind of a bad kid, honestly. I lied so much. And what they say is research shows that if you live in a punitive environment where like you get in trouble for lying, you tend to lie more. And that was me. My parents would say, if you lie, your punishment is double. And
yeah, I used to hear a lot of that from my mom too.
Yeah, but I would continue to do it. I'd literally look them in the face and completely lie through my teeth, knowing that my punishment was still going to be more.
If you got caught.
And that's the other thing. I always got caught. I don't know what it was with my mom. She had like this sixth sense or something. I always got caught. So there was a situation where I was in high school. I think I was a freshman or sophomore, and I wanted to hang out with this senior. And unfortunately, he took me down to Mexico to the bar and came back. And I told my parents I was going to go to my best friend's house. And so my mom called my best friend in the morning to have me come home and watch my siblings, and I wasn't there.
Uh-oh.
So of course, my mother had to, say, where is she? And nothing happened with the boy. I just went down. I wanted to be cool. But the mother of the boy let me spend the night at their house. And
okay, that's crazy in itself.
Right? So my mom
Zero chance I was doing that as a parent.
My mom was so upset and was like yelling at this woman, how can you let this young lady spend the night knowing they're going down there and all of this? And of course, the other mom probably thought, what is this crazy parent doing letting her daughter go out at night? Probably thinking, she must be a cool mom. In fact, I'm just lying the whole time and putting my safety at risk.
Yeah, that's actually that could have been a potentially scary situation.
Right? So, I'm admitting this now because I was a very good student, like straight A student. I was in sports. I did so many things, and I still did stupid stuff as a teenager.
Well,
Stupid stuff.
and teenagers tend to be stupid anyway,
I
generally.
know.
But so this whole punitive thing gets me thinking, because when kids are trying to figure out what the boundaries are, my kids specifically, I remember a time when my daughter was in 4th grade. So that would be what, 9 years old?
Yeah, around that.
She was a very good kid, but I'm going through her backpack to get her papers together, and I see her reading log with my name signed, but I didn't sign it. It was a very good imitation of my signature.
Yeah.
So I made the biggest deal about it, thinking we need to show how important it is not to do deceitful things like this and lie. And so before school, we went in, I made her tell the teacher what she did. I mean, we all look back. I mean, honestly, forging a reading log is not the end of the world or the biggest deal, but I wanted to prove my point at that time. Like, you can't do this. You're going to have to suffer the consequences. And I wonder if being punitive like that was a good or bad thing. I don't know if she did it in the future. I never saw it. It was a good lesson because her brother also saw her getting drug into the school and having to fess up to the teacher. She's sobbing because she's a good girl and she doesn't want to be in
mortified.
trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so then, she had told the teacher and that, okay, we're going to go home now. I'm crying. And I'm like, okay, have a good day at school. And she's like, wait, what? I have to stay? I'm like, yes, you're going to school. You got yourself into this. So I don't know if that's the way to do it, because that was definitely a punitive action for what she did.
Except I feel like that was teaching honesty, and that was like holding her accountable.
Yeah, that's exactly what my intent was.
Like,
and
it wasn't like she was on restriction and stuff. It was, no, you need to be honest. You need to go. Like, if a little kid tries to steal something from the store, you take them back and you say, you got to give that back. And it kind of embarrasses them. I agree. I kind of agree with that. You can't just say, it's okay. We believe in honesty, but I'm going to keep that secret for you from this teacher.
Right. I do. I do believe in consequences.
Honesty.
Right. And that's why I did it. But after you were talking about the punitive nature, I was thinking that's the only thing I can think of. She really didn't get in trouble. But I just remember, like, that's probably why that sticks out in my mind so much, is because I made a huge deal about it.
But I like how you approached it, because you made her demonstrate honesty by going back to that teacher.
Well, and the point I was trying to make was, this is not okay. You don't do things sneaky like that and get away with it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there was other occasions of punitive.
I don't know. I think you were teaching. Teaching her how to do the right thing.
That was my intent, and I didn't ever do it with the intent of shaming her. I just wanted her to come clean. I didn't make her stand in front of the class. I mean, that to me would be shaming them, which I think is wrong.
Have you seen those? I haven't seen it lately, but like parents would put their kids on a street corner with a sign that said, like, I stole something, or I did this, so my mom's making me stand here.
Oh my gosh. No, but that's awful. That's shaming.
That's shame.
I'm not on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it is hard, but just to know that kids are going to lie, for sure. Not practicing what you preach and not emphasizing the importance of honesty is really important. I think we were talking about this. It must have been with family. I don't think it was with you. You remember that show Full House?
Yes.
And Jessie, the little girl, wasn't she the little girl? She was the oldest sister. Wasn't it Jessie?
No, Jessie was the guy.
Oh, Jessie was the guy. What was the girl?
I don't remember her name, but anyway.
Sorry. Anyway, the oldest daughter was caught smoking, and the dad went and found out. So he went into the room. He got down on one knee and he said, whatever the little girl's name was, I'm just so disappointed, but we believe in honesty. And if you're willing to admit it, it was so, I don't know. It was so phony from the way we were raised.
Oh, like, you're like, there's no way this happens in real life.
But that's kind of what they're saying you should do. Like, you should say, we don't believe in this. You should stop lying about it. Let's just talk about why you're doing it, and that's going to work out.
But I do think communication is the key, because you kind of have to get down to the root of why kids lie. And I think as they get older, kids lie a lot of times to fit in or be cool or whatever.
That's what they're saying, like the social image and stuff like
Right.
that.
Which, I mean, you get to the bottom of it. And I think then as a parent or grandparent, your job is to try to help them with that positive self-image. There's other things you can do to help. And I think getting to the bottom, but it goes down just like anything. Communication is key. And I think as parents or grandparents, as frustrating as it is to see a child not meeting whatever expectation is set, you have to stay calm.
Well, I can tell you.
My mother did not stay calm.
My parents did not stay calm. They communicated punishment.
Yes, but yeah, we were also
and
punished.
I continued to lie. And it's unfortunate because cannot, and it's so funny. I realize now as an adult, I cannot lie to save my life.
Yeah, I'm also a terrible liar.
And it must have been that I was like that when I was younger, and I
but
just
thought you were a really good liar.
And that's what my mother saw in my face. Like my daughter will say something, or my son will say something. They'll ask me a question, and it's on my face. Like I stumble, I pause, I can't handle it.
I know, that's funny. Well, if I try to lie, I start laughing. So my kids immediately are like, oh, geez.
Yeah. So I'm just terrible at it. And I guess I didn't realize it until now.
That's funny. But think about that, too. It comes down to kids mimic what they see. So if the parents are being honest and the grandparents that are surrounding them are being honest, that is a good place to start, because they see then the value of honesty, because that's what's being modeled to them.
Well, I can tell you I was not honest with my kids, and I did not tell them all the things that I did. I did selectively, because I didn't want them to say, okay, well, if my mom did it, then I can do it.
Right. And times were different, too.
Times were different.
But I think the same thing, using it as a productive lesson is a whole different thing.
Yeah. We were 80s kid. Well, I was 80s kid, so you know what they say about Gen X. We just we survived anything back then.
Went off the rails.
Yeah. And yet here we are, very strong, independent people. The one thing they did say that about people who lie, it was a study. It said that people who lie have higher cognitive ability. And I'm like, okay, now it's making sense. I lied so much. I'm a pretty good critical thinker.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the best takeaway.
Anyway, well, Sharon, I like your the way you handled it. And I think we just need to be like the dad on Full House and bend on one knee and talk to your kids. And
no, it's easier said than done, as we all know after raising kids. There's times you're so frustrated you just want to scream, but
yeah.
But it does get better. Well, I have a fabulous find.
Okay.
It's something that I had purchased for my daughter. I saw it on some kind of infomercial and had it sent to her home, so I didn't have to carry it with me. And then when I opened it, I promptly forgot, why did I get this? Well, we call it the magic bowl. It is so cool. You're going to be like, okay, what's so cool about a bowl? It's a stainless steel bowl, and it has this inset that you put this rocking basket in, so you can clean fruit. And as you're dumping out the water, or pasta for that matter, it stays level. And then it has all kinds of other functions. On the top, it has a cheese grater inset you can put in. So it does multi-functions. But what I love about it, when I was using it, and I'm planning on purchasing one for myself because I was so in love with it, is when you're rinsing things or draining pasta, you just throw it in there and then you dump it and the basket stays level. Does that make sense? I'm re-explaining it twice. I understand, but
I'd have to see it to believe it.
It's so hard, but my son-in-law, my daughter, everyone got on board, and it's the magic bowl. It was used continuously over the holiday season. And it was I think it was around $20.
Okay. Well, we'll put it on our website and we'll link it.
And check out the magic bowl. It's definitely not called that. But if you can see all the different things
What's it called
does,
then?
Please hold. Okay. It is called the 4-in-1 stainless steel colander with bowl set rotatable strainers for kitchen fruit cleaning, etc.
Okay. Awesome.
So it is very multifunctional. It slices, it grates, it has a cover that stores everything if you wanted to do that. But the whole rotating strainer is the genius part of the whole thing.
Okay.
Although when you grate cheese, it goes right into the bowl and then you already have it covered. So that was also kind of genius because it's one-stop shop for grating cheese.
All right.
Also, on a side note, I just learned this recently because we all get into the whole save time and you buy the grated cheese. There's so much preservatives and additives to that. If you grate regular cheese, it tastes 1,000 times better.
Oh, yeah. I buy grated cheese already for convenience.
I did that for so long, and then I noticed it
But if
stopped
the special
having
bowl does it so quickly, then
right. Well, it stopped having flavor. So I was like, why does this cheese not have flavor anymore? And so then I went and bought a block of cheese and grated it, and oh my, what a difference. I've also got my son-in-law and daughter on that whole train too, because I grated cheese there, and they're like, oh, this tastes so good.
Huh. I never even thought of that.
So side note, fabulous find, grate your cheese.
Grate your cheese. All right. Well, thanks, Sharon. And I think the next time we come, we might have a special guest.
Yay, yes.
Okay. So stay tuned, everyone.
All right. Have a great week, month, till next time we see you.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so we can continue to grow our community. Also follow us on Instagram at Working Grandmas Podcast, on Facebook at The Grand Balance, a Working Grandmas Podcast, and join our LinkedIn group, Working Grandmas. You can also email us at info@workinggrandmas.com or message us through any of our social media platforms.